Alright, so now we're going to talk about the piano roll. We're going to just bring down the basics and see how it goes. In the previous video, Shrimp was talking about the channel rack, so if you want to see how to navigate through the channel rack and all that, go watch that video. But now we're going to talk about the piano roll and how to get it. So let's go get it. Alright, so now we're going to go and talk about the piano roll. Now there's millions of ways you can open up the piano roll. So first, you can go ahead and, like Shrimp said, just right click on it, one of those stock instruments, and then put replace or insert, and then bam, you can insert FL keys, which is basically a stock piano. Or you can go ahead and push this plus button, which at the bottom, which means add new channel, click, and then FL keys. So with that being said, let's get started. So we don't need this anymore. Now, in order to basically open up the piano roll, what you want to do is click on this instrument, and then you can right click and go to piano roll here, which opens up the piano roll, or at the top you can click here and view piano roll, and piano roll will pop up. But the key thing is to make sure that you're on, that this whatever instrument you're going to use is highlighted in green. If I'm highlighted the snare and I want to go to piano roll on the piano, but I don't know, then I click here, and then now you hear only the snare. So we're going to go ahead and go into the piano roll. Now, in the piano roll, you can place in notes. So you have draw, which bam, and bam, and bam. You just click and all the notes come in just like that. Or you can go ahead and go into the paintbrush tool and you can plaster in a bunch of notes. So when you have all these notes playing, you can play it and it's playing. But with this tool, the paint, basically this paint tool is going to silence out the notes. And this goes into this grayish blue color, so when I play it, you don't hear any of the notes anymore. So you can also go into the delete tool, which is basically what I was doing, left clicking and deleting, and that's how this tool pops up, and that's how it comes into like this little form, which is also the same as this. And so let's say if I put down this chord right here. In order to make chords, it's just by placing notes and then stacking them on top. So I'll just place this one and I'll place this one like this. If I click this right here, the mute button, it's the same thing basically as the paint tool, but I click it and drag right over it, it plays the notes. But then with this one, playback, if I click, it plays on the note. You can hear it. Now the slice tool is to basically, I guess, slice anything. So now it makes it, just different little cuts inside the little pianos. Like that. I don't know. It probably sounds trash. So next thing you know is the select tool, where you can select all of the notes, and since I don't want them anymore, you can delete them, or you can select them and move them somewhere else if you want. So let's delete them. Now you also have the magnifying tool. So let's just say you want to zoom in, you can zoom in, and you can drag to zoom in like that, and left click to zoom out. So one thing we can do now is basically we do a little shortcuts. Left click, and then if you scroll, you can change to each different little basically tools. So what I'm doing is left clicking here, and I'm just scrolling, and I switch to all the tools. At the top, you'll see they're changing just like that. So that's just a little shortcut for the ones who don't have all day to worry about that. Another thing is the snapping to grid. So this magnet tool right here is called snap to grid, and you can basically snap it to wherever you would like to. So right now we have it in 1/4 step. We can go into bar, and it changes what the grid actually looks like. So now if I place a note, I can't go anywhere else. It's only going to snap to that grid. But if I go to 1/4 beat, now I can place notes here and here and here and go very intricate. So we're going to go ahead and select all of those, and we're going to go ahead and delete. So also you have this wrench tool, which has a riff machine, and basically you can see on the side it tells you all of the little shortcuts that you can use to do that. So just to show a few, not all, you can play around with it yourself, but let's just say we make these chords right here. And we can go, I guess, Alt R to randomize velocities, and you can play with that and randomize the velocities. or you can go ahead and go, and the way I highlighted all that was Control A, and that controls all, highlights all of the items. Or you can also do Alt U, which it chops up all the notes very easy. You can use this time manipulation and make it smaller or make it bigger or smaller, whatever you prefer. Also, you can go ahead and use Alt S to strum the notes, and so if I move this time back, the notes fall back, and then even if I bring in some tension, it falls back even more. I can play with the velocities and all that as well in here, and then I can also move the end of the notes, bring in more tension as well. So yeah, now we got that. So yeah, you can play with all of these. There's a bunch of them here. You got, the glue, you got all of these things in here. And they're also the same way as in the playlist. So you're going to be familiar with this, you're familiar with the playlist as well. And this is for files and edit stuff and just a little extra other stuff. You can do helpers, so you can go to scale, highlight, and scale it and change it. So let's just say if we wanted the minor, all the notes in the background, the light notes are the ones that's highlighted, that's what's in the scale. So if I click here, I click up here, and I click here, it's all in the minor scale. That's what it sounds like. So yeah, you can just play with all this stuff, figure out what it does, you know what I'm saying? The zoom, it shows you all the different zooms, this type of stuff, or if you want to group stuff, it just depends. But yeah, and this right here is the time, stretcher. So if you wanted to play all of this in here, you can go ahead and play it. It'll play and it'll keep going all the way until it loops back around. Or you can go ahead and come back here and then it'll play and then loop back just like that. So that's basically how you can use the piano roll, and you can navigate through it, and you can just play with all these settings and stuff. And another cool tip is if you want to move from different sounds, you can go from FL keys into the kick, and then bam, you're using the kick. If you want to go back to the piano, bam, you just click and you're back in the piano. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the piano roll, you know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and play with it, mess with it, you get used to it, and have some fun. But other than that, it's Po Boy, and we out.